Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanna and this is my creative corner where I color and create my thematic color palette. It's late autumn and Christmas is just around the corner, so today I have some festive palettes scattered all over my desk, plus the page that I did last weekend. I'm super happy that I managed to find some time to finish this page. Uh, and without any further ado, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the AI that I use to generate the reference images for my palette cards, like the ones you can see here on my desk. I treat my palette cards as a tool that helps me to build mood and atmosphere that I aim for on a coloring page. Although I do think it's relevant what the reference images depict, whether it's a cute capybara or a bloodthirsty zombie, for overall user experience, I still don't consider them a piece of art in themselves. I look at them with my eyes, half pinched, focusing on the general color placements and how those colors interact with each other to build the scene and build the overall vibe. It's a tool that I've only not learned to accept but genuinely appreciate as a part of my creative process. And recently, a viewer commented one of my shorts. She wrote, "The AI looks like crap. Next time, use real art if you actually want to inspire artists." The comment is what it is, so let's keep the emotional triggers and instead dive into the rabbit hole, or maybe even an entire underworld, and explore the real question: can AI actually inspire artists? Before we go any further, I want to make one thing very clear. I'm not here to persuade anyone that AI is good or bad. For me, it is a tool. That's a completely different discussion. In this video, I simply want to show you a few well-known artists who openly use AI in their creative work. And I will let you draw your own conclusions. But if you find this topic interesting, please let me know in the comments, because I can absolutely see this becoming a regular series on my channel. Let's start wild. And by wild, I mean an art form many people don't usually engage with, but one that is absolutely breathtaking and jaw-dropping. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Mr. Refik Anadol. You can explore his work right away at refikanadol.com. I will leave all the links in the description below. If you can, actually open his page now while I talk, because I truly can't copy paste or screen record his installations the way they deserve to be seen. Refik Anadol is the director and co-founder of Refik Anadol Studio in Los Angeles and teaches at University of California in Los Angeles in the Department of Design Media Arts, where he also earned his Master of Fine Arts. His work, which could easily classify as large-scale exhibitions or media installations, is mesmerizing. It is mind-blowing and absolutely beautifully abstract. And let me quote a fragment from his website that really captures his artistic focus. Refik Anadol's work locates creativity at the intersection of humans and machines. Taking the data that surrounds us as primary material and the neural network of a computerized mind as a collaborator, Anadol offers us radical visualizations of our digitized memories and expands the possibilities of interdisciplinary art. Anadol's AI data paintings and sculptures, live audio and visual performances, and immersive installations take many forms, while encouraging us to rethink our engagement with the physical world, public art, decentralized networks, and the creative potential of AI. Well, the best way to understand what I've just read is simply to visit his page, but even better is to visit one of his exhibitions, which are available worldwide. And at the moment, guys, his installations are being shown in places like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, Charlotte, Dubai, Zurich, Istanbul, and Australia, Melbourne and Sydney, Australia. From my perspective, his work sits at the crossroads of humanity, nature, architecture, and machines, the AI, pure digital imagination. And it is super hypnotizing and definitely worth consideration. Talking architecture. Take Zaha Hadid, Architects. It's a London-based studio known for designing transformative cultural, corporate, and residential and public spaces that function when in synchronicity with their surroundings. The studio has an enormous team of highly skilled and incredibly talented human designers, also that are scattered all around the world. And yet, they still invited AI as an additional mind in their creative process. The research group, the Zaha Codes, actively uses AI and machine learning tools to brainstorm, explore, form general structural ideas, and test some visual solutions in the early conceptual stages. It's not replacing architects, it's given extra ideas. And the forms and shapes, both of the buildings and the smaller architecture elements, are simply phenomenal. Just browse through their portfolio to see with your own eyes. And just to give you, a sense of relevance, only in 25, the year that is still not finished, they received numerous prestigious awards across architecture, innovation, research, and design, further proving that AI isn't diminishing creativity, it's helping world-class designer push the boundaries even further. Now, let's explore something a bit more down to earth and tangible. My next guest is Julie Wieland, or Wieland, I'm not sure how to correctly pronounce her last name. You can visit her at juliewieland.com. Julie is a digital artist and photographer, and let me actually read how she describes herself on her own page. I'm Julie Wieland, an art director and visual artist blending traditional techniques with generative AI tools to craft compelling visual narratives. With a background in graphic design, my work explores the creative potential of AI in storytelling, from post-photography to AI-enhanced cinema and video production. I'm drawn to dreamlike cinematic aesthetics that merge emotional depth with technical innovation. It feels like we have something in common, doesn't it? Like using an eye to help you build the moods and tell stories with colors. Okay, the next part is not so alike. Let me read it. I've had the opportunity to collaborate with industry leaders like Netflix, and my work has been featured in publications such as New York Times and Washington Post. Yeah, that's definitely not me. But then she ends up with something that absolutely is my vibe. Just as meaningful to me as sharing what I've learned through online workshops and tutorials, I aim to empower other creatives and show how AI can enhance rather than replace human creativity. How do you think about it? How do you feel about it? Julie is on Instagram, so I will share her details in the description as well, so you can see her productions. Next, Claire Silver. You can find her at clairesilver.com. She calls herself a caveman painting fire, which is incredibly poetic, isn't it? Her work is a part of a Los Angeles County Museum of Art collection, and she has been featured in New York Times, Wired, Fortune, NPR, and countless podcasts. Let me read how she describes herself on her website, because it's really intriguing and fascinating. I collaborate with AI to produce art that is transcendental, art that evokes in the viewer a worldless truth. Together we create works that are greater than either of us could make alone, neither more important than the other to the process. I also produce physically painted twins of selected digital pieces. In this way, both the AI and the artist can exist in the same world as our art. She also writes, as a millennial, my childhood was mostly analog, shifting into increasingly digital existence as I grew. My process mirrors this, moving from analog to digital and back again. I work with oil, acrylic, collage, photography, and different digital mediums to create my work. I often blend the classical style and mythos into my art, collaboratively producing work that feels at once familiar and strange. And she continues, I explore themes of vulnerability, trauma, disability, social hierarchy, innocence, and divinity, and question the role they will play in our transhumanist future. And there is the line that truly sums up her approach. I do not make statements on whether AI is good or bad. I am a caveman painting fire. I really admire her art. There is something truly deeply triggering about it in a positive way that provokes reflection. My favorite collection of hers is titled AI Art is Not Art, which is beautifully ironic considering the ongoing debate. Go to her website, browse through her collections, and let me know which one do you like most. And lastly, let's talk about Jeza. Yes, that Jeza, the same artist whose opinion kept me from crayons for quite a while. Despite that, I genuinely adore his creativity, his talent, his sheer dedication he puts into every project he touches. If you haven't somehow come across him yet, he's a super talented YouTuber, content creator, and artist who seems to master every medium he touches, except for crayons. And here's the thing. With all his skills, experience, and artistic credibility, Jeza openly admits that he and his team use AI as part of their creative workflow, not to replace anything or anyone, but as a tool for early conceptual stages of their projects. A great example, I guess, is Leocamp project, where AI was used to explore ideas before his team could move into the details. I will link the video where he explained his reasoning behind using AI in the description as well. And these are all guests that I had for today. The series can definitely continue if you would like to. And if you are, ready to explore the bright side, the procreative side of using AI, let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about artists and creators from different disciplines, like I pictured it today, who use AI to brainstorm or speed up conceptual phase, or even, to co-create with AI on their art. And that's it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video, that it, sparked some inspiration. I'll see you soon, and in the meantime, stay creative, keep coloring, and stay safe. Until the next time, bye bye!